welcome back. I'm glad everyone stayed. So a little more about myself. I'm Demetria Smith with Simplified Flooring, located here in Statesboro. I'm co-owner with my husband, James Smith. I better mention him. And so just getting to know us. We are a family of five, well 6 with October, our cat, and our 3 children. And so this is a startup, and we're going to have most of the problems that all startups have. So we didn't want to concentrate too much on, the normal issues, but I just really do want to glean your experience and expertise on how you do things. But here's a little of our history. We had the business in Florida. We moved back home in 2013 and did a startup here in Garfield, where we were located. He had warehouse, and I had process improvement. So that's all I see is problems, and I want to solve them. So I thought about, you have this skill, James. What can you do with it? Because I want to get out of the major corporations, and I want you to work I want to work as hard for you as I work for anyone else. And so I kept examining what was the issues that he would have as a floor installer. By the time he comes in, the customer is about at their wit's end, and they don't know who this guy is. Sometimes somebody calls him in as a subcontractor. They think he works for the company, or they think that he knows about previous things they've discussed when he doesn't. He's also been in situations where he's been left on a site dealing with an angry customer because someone started the project, and he's coming to help out with the project, and they're just ready to eat him alive. So I thought, how can the installer be more part of the beginning process and help eliminate a lot of issues that customers have when you're picking out wood flooring or when they want their wood flooring installed. So I helped to bring the process down to maybe a 4-step process where we're more in on the beginning part of the process, where we're contacted, we consult and measure, we bring the product to you, samples, at your convenience. Also, we deliver the product and we install it. We guarantee it. If there's any issues, you come to us. So that's the whole simplified flooring process and how it's being simplified by us. So 2015, in our local area, we did some installations and restorations, and our passion is more of restorations, problem solving, things I love to do. Well, people contact different flooring stores in the area, and for situations just like that issue there, they would just want to replace that whole floor. That house was built in the 70s, and the milling process or whatever would just be too costly, so you might as well replace the whole floor. So no, I see that as an opportunity, and I'm going to find that, and if we have to mill it down, we'll get it to a price that you can afford, and we'll fix that. There's no need to tear up that beautiful floor. We just need to fix that area. So that's really our passion. But we'd love to get more into designing as well as historical restorations. So just letting you know a little bit more about us. Our ideal clients are, of course, showrooms. Well, you can read here. People with multiple pets, like dogs, because sometimes they only mess up a certain area. And that's where we come in. We can remove those planks because the smell never goes away, despite what you've been told. We also love commercial office spaces and storefronts. Some of our great referral sources are realtors, hairstylists, because everybody talks to their barber and hairstylist. So here's where I need your help. So we can get past the first phase, but now when growth comes into play, we want to speak about upsizing. And how do we do this effectively? How do we plan for upsizing? If we grow, we're starting to be known and we're starting to get more calls. So rapid growth could mean that if you don't handle it right, we can have financial disaster. So from you local businesses, how have you handled the issue of upsizing? Who do you call? Where does it begin? What does it look like? So I open it to you.
Paul Johnson, King Cut. When you say upsizing, in what area of your company do you want to upsize? As far as like,
So we would love to grow, so bringing in staff, but being able to afford the staff and bring them in at the right time. Also not losing our quality and our, who we are, so in that aspect.
financially, are y'all in a place where you're ready to upsize, or do you need to promote sales or get more jobs and contracts so that that'll force you into having to hire more people?
So your first question, thank you. But your first question, no, we're not in a financial place. I am a planner and I want to know what it will look like before it happens. So no, we're not there. We would like to, of course, we can only take one job at a time. It's my husband and my two boys. And if it's a big enough job, who do we bring in? And if you only need it for that one big job, then what do you do with that person? I know there's temp services out there and we've explored that, but how does your quality not suffer when you go with a temporary employee?
Let me reshape the question. William Alfonso, Connect Communications. How do you determine your readiness for upsizing? Have you done market surveys? How are you determining the demand for your services enough for you to strategically begin to plan toward upsizing? I mean, there has to be a motivation.
Yes, the motivation is the last quarter of 2015, we had a couple jobs, opportunities that were available for us, and we're like, wow, people are getting our name out there. But unfortunate for us, we had to turn down some of those jobs because usually when people contact us, they've already made their decision and they just are ready to go at that time. And waiting 6 months when there's so many other stores out there is just not going to be to our benefit, to their benefit. So that is what prompted this, and it's like, how can I go and get those other businesses without, I can't really afford new staff at this time. It's like, so how do I bridge that?
Marco George again, Covenant Security and Surveillance. My question is, I know your son, your husband James, and your two sons. How well trained, how ready are your sons to be possible foremen, where you can dispatch them on a job site? They're supervising and handling a crew, maybe one or two people working with them, and you're having 3 jobs going on at one time with your husband and each of your sons as foremen on those jobs. Are they trained enough to that point, and then even where your husband can maybe leave one site to do quality assurance on those other sites and checking on your sons? Because that sounds like the best opportunity to grow that way. You don't have to necessarily turn down a job where you got your 2 sons, splitting them up and maybe bringing in some temporary help, through a temp agency, but having someone that's, got a vested interest in the business supervising them, like your husband or, one of your sons, and maybe start that way until somebody else comes along and proves themselves with the skill set and quality of work that you're looking for, but still having your husband James kind of overseeing and making sure the quality assurance is there as they're going along with your sons. Have you thought about that?
Yes.
The divide and conquer, so to speak.
Yeah. So thank you again for that comment. That's like the model that we're operating off. And to be honest, the best worker underneath my husband, he's only 16, so he homeschooled and he thinks he knows it all. And I feel very confident that he's a great leader and he's going to be ready to fill that role, but he's not there yet. But also, with that, dividing and conquering, we use some of the same tools, and that also is a part of the upsizing dilemma with, you know, redundancy of what we use, yeah.
I've already introduced myself.
Yes.
Being a pastor and having to do like little jobs around the church or different buildings that we may use, I've seen that there's always somebody in the congregation that needs work, and they'll work for, I mean, lower than what a temp agency would. You know, you could get a temp agent working for it, and a lot of them have some type of experience in construction work. They just, you know, might have some type of issue that
Right.
keeps them from working on a regular job every day. But if you properly motivate them, you know, you can get those people. So I don't know what ministries that you're connected with, but there's always people. Like we're doing a little project across the street, and we thought it was going to take us, you know, a lot of money to do it. But when we presented it to our members, it was like, you know, different people had different skills. I mean, we had a licensed contractor in our midst, and I didn't even know it. And, you know, so he was able to do some of the work in between his other job.
Okay.
You know, just always there's somebody that knows how to do it. They're an expert in their own right, and they can do the work.
Right.
They just haven't been able to hold down a regular job.
Okay.
But if you can properly motivate them, you know, you can, you know,
Find it.
yeah.
And, sorry, Fred, go ahead. Daniel Caraway.
Daniel Caraway with All Clean and Restoration in Statesboro. Where a small business can lose money up front, Demetria, is when you hire people and you have downtime. I was talking with a business owner, had 28% downtime with 6 people. That's a lot of money to lose. At All Clean, we have 130 employees. I don't go through temp agencies. I got about 8 college students here from Georgia Southern. I got veterans. I got retired teachers. I got retired people in other places. And what I do is I bring them in and I train them specifically on what job I want them to do. And once I do have that investment in these people, but I have 0 downtime. You know, when I pick up a new client, we go out and do the scope of service, and we physically know what man hours it takes, and we hire those people and put them on those jobs for those hours. Some of our people make 20 hours a week, some of our people make 60 hours a week. It's all according to the job, but I have 0 downtime, so I'm not losing money there. So I wouldn't go through a temp agency. All my people, some of them work 20 hours a week, they work for me. They're on my payroll, so I control that, not somebody else. And you control your costs that way.
Fred?
We talked about, this is the freelance economy, the e-lance economy, and people that basically hire themselves out and never work for anybody. But one of the things maybe that you might consider, maybe you've done this, but reach out of the area, like Augusta or Jacksonville or Brunswick, or 2 or 3 hours where people that you're not in direct competition with, reach out to these people that are doing similar work to you, whether they're just independents or companies, and say, do you have personnel that maybe have some downtime that you could loan us, we could rent from you, or, you just need this guy for a week, he's not doing anything on your payroll, wow, you would have to pay him for that week, we could pay him for that week. But there would be skilled people but looking for work, who are willing to travel up here. I mean, you know what you're able to afford, whether you can put them up in a place for a week or something like that. But that way, those people are staying employed, they're working, and they're probably very highly skilled people. They may love what they're doing, but they can't work 40 hours a week. They're not working, 52 weeks a year. They're only working 36 weeks a year. So they're looking for places they can go, and they're willing to travel 2 or 3 hours to do that. That's not, somebody in Jacksonville, it's not far for them to commute up here for a couple of days, or maybe Augusta or Columbia or Charleston, something like that. But in those areas, reaching out to some of the dealers up there, some installers up there, and kind of build a relationship there, and see that they might have some people that are down, that they're trying to keep. They want to keep those people employed. So if they're able to say, listen, I can't pay you this week, instead of laying them off for a week, they're able to send them down to Statesboro for a week. And, that may be a great way to kind of win-win for both y'all.
Thank you.
I can see that.
I'll do one. Brian Reese, Party Harbor Inflatables. Do you currently have anyone that you're training now besides, immediate family members?
I do, but he is, like for a specialized thing, he does only stairs. That's
Okay.
what he loves to do, and that's what he does very well.
Well, that's good then, you got someone covered for stairs.
Yeah.
But like, so it's kind of like in my business, I got, 15, 20 people I can choose from on a list, but I don't necessarily come to work every weekend to see how many needs of my, how much I need that weekend. But, most weekends I kind of run a little heavy because I try and chalk some up to training because we got college guys that are going to be leaving and guys that might have something going on that weekend that just can't work. I kind of almost say, kind of do the same thing with your business of kind of getting 5, 6 people that you might have met that have some of those skills that you can maybe, I know it's going to cost you some money, but next time you get a job, invite them on to work with you. That way you can train them the way you want them to start, train them the way that you want them to work, or I guess look at their skills, make sure that they meet your quality level and all that stuff, and kind of get them in the rotation, and then that way you kind of have them in your back pocket. When you do have a job come up, say, hey, you got a list of people, you can call them, maybe, it will cost some money up front, because you will be having 1 or 2 people maybe extra on the job that you don't really need, but you do need for future.
Okay. Okay.
Because that's the way that's the way I've been doing it. It seems to be working so far.
Jerry Glick with Novel Imaging. When you get your flooring stuff to the people, are you getting them from the flooring companies here in town also, or are you ordering out and delivering? Because as I say, the flooring companies here, I see guys out there all the time, and they would know people who can do that extra work on the side and stuff like that too. So they'd be a good one to look at, and because they're there and they're here. So when you need them on that basis, they can be right there for you. So I mean, I don't know if so that's what I'm saying, go in there and talk to those owners and say, hey, if you're getting stuff from them and all that too, and just work that out with them.
That's a great suggestion. But to answer your question, the customer that we mostly serve, they have the option to buy from anywhere. So if they found a great case offline, or if they're in Costco, we offer them that flexibility, so you don't have to stay in town. Because, so again, I probably wouldn't have that loyalty, but I'd be happy to be open for suggestions on how to do that. Because that's really what I want to offer my customers. While you live here in this town, you're not disloyal because you want a better price, or you want a product that's just not offered by the local distributors here. So,
Question.
okay.
What plans have you put forward to grow your company? What have you written down? What have you
Yeah.
mapped out a growth plan?
Yes, I have one. I write down everything.
Okay.
So, like I said, I'm a planner and I've seen different things. But what I'm currently working on now is like a minority business certification. And so, being aware of what that could potentially send our way is a part of my growth plan and what I'm currently looking towards. But I want to be able to handle it, and I want to be able to keep our good reputation and our name. So immediately, that's our immediate plan. That's what we're currently having in process.
How does that work? That's the minority growth plan is. Explain it just a little more. I'm
I
sorry.
think somebody's better qualified than I am, but what I understand is that a certain amount of work for contractors is set aside for minority business owners if you have more than 51% business So, a lot of times there is not enough qualified, certified minority business to absorb that business. So, being a part of that certification process will open me up to more business opportunities.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good. I understand that.
But that presupposes that the demand will be here locally, right?
Yes. The principle is that demand will be here, but also in the area that we cover, because we cover up to 2 hours away
Oh.
from Statesboro.